here? Zoey had received a call from Sophia the previous day to meet and discuss a few designs. But when she arrived, she couldn't understand why Sophia had suggested meeting at a bridal store. Zoey went to confirm with the receptionist. Hi, I'm here to meet Miss Sophia, but suddenly, Zoey spotted Blaine dressed in a wedding tuxedo, staring at her blankly. Sophia was standing next to him wearing bridal attire.
Zoey, over here!
Hi, Sophia. You look lovely.
Oh, thank you, Zoey. And thank you for making it today.
If you're busy, we can discuss the designs some other time.
Don't worry about it, Zoey. I'm a master multitasker. I'm just so busy right now with all the last-minute wedding preparations, you know. And this was the only time I had to meet with you. Don't worry, we're almost done.
All right, I'll be right here. Zoey sat there, pretending to focus on a wedding magazine while Sophia went to the changing room. Blaine was taking the tuxedo off, but his gaze had not shifted from Zoey. Unable to bear it any longer, Zoey stood up and walked over to Blaine. Now listen to me. I don't want Sophia to misunderstand anything. In the future, Dr. Dexter, we cannot meet again in private.
Then you will have to control yourself and not provoke me again.
Look, I'm not the one to fuss about these matters. Do me a favor and please ask your fiancé to meet me at a more professional place next time.
You can leave if you want.
Blaine's eyes stared deeply at Zoey, and she saw a hint of sadness in his eyes. But before she could react, Blaine dropped a bomb.
But before you go, you should know this. I've got rid of the heart of the sea, which means I have let go of the past. So you better stay out of my life.
Zoey's heart turned to ice as Blaine stormed out of the store. Overwhelmed by emotion, she couldn't contain herself and hastily fled the scene as well. Sophia was observing all of this from the changing room with a cunning smile.
I mean, this patient is not just any patient. He's an HIV-positive patient. The surgery is tricky with only a 50% chance of success. And even if he survives, he'll still be at risk of contracting AIDS and dying.
I don't agree with you, Dr. Warner. Being HIV positive is not the immediate death sentence it once was. But without brain surgery, this man's life will be over. Therefore, I'm in favor of conducting the operation and I volunteer to do it myself.
I will assist you, Dr. Dexter.
After the meeting, the news reached Ramona and she rushed to find Jose.
Jose, is there no way to persuade Dr. Dexter not to operate? This is very risky.
Ramona, you know very well what he's like. Dr. Dexter has made up his mind, and no one can change it.
You are not understanding. You guys can die because of this.
I'm only assisting, so my chances of getting the infection are even lower. Still, there is a chance, so I'd be lying if I said I'm not scared.
Then why did you volunteer, you idiot?
Someone has to be there for Dr. Dexter. He is the one putting his life in danger for that patient.
Ramona felt the weight of Jose's concern, but couldn't respond. The next day, she spotted Zoey in the hospital hallway and rushed to her. Zoey noticed the worry on Ramona's face. What's going on, Ramona? All good?
I wish I could tell you I was good, but I'm not. Dr. Dexter is putting himself in danger, and I fear that only you can stop him, Zoey.
What do you mean?
Dr. Dexter is insisting on performing brain surgery on an HIV-positive patient. If he suffers even the smallest wound while operating, he will be exposed to the virus. But, Zoey, he listens to you.
Zoey's eyes widened with concern as she absorbed the situation. But recalling the night Blaine saved the other patient, she expressed her belief in his decision. I believe you will come to agree with him when you see him at the operating table. Also, he never listens to me, and I have nothing to do with him anymore, so he won't listen to anything I say anyway. Zoey turned and left with her fingers crossed. Blaine began the surgery at 11 in the morning. The clock ticked and everyone nervously watched for over 5 hours, hoping for a successful conclusion. As the last portion of the tumor was removed, everyone breathed a sigh of relief.
And now, just the last thing to do.
Blaine took the needle and thread and began to sew up the patient. Jose and David watched nervously as he worked when suddenly, the nurse dropped a tray which diverted Dr. Blaine and a crisis emerged.
Damn it. Dr. Dexter, look at your finger. It's bleeding.
What are you panicking for? We have protocols for this. Our first concern is the patient. The operation is almost through.
Dr. Dexter, hurry up and leave the patient. Let me do it.
No, step away. My hand has already been pierced. Let me finish the stitching.
Blaine completed the surgery successfully, and after the operation, he had his blood drawn for an HIV test. Despite taking all precautions, Blaine was asked to take time off until the results came in. The news spread like wildfire. The moment Zoey heard about it, her heart skipped a beat. She rushed to Blaine's apartment and stood in the lobby.
Miss, are you looking for Dr. Dexter?
Yes, is he home? I need to see him. Please let me in.
He's here, but no one is allowed to meet him. It's a strict order, ma'am.
Zoey, without thinking, pushed the guard and pressed the buzzer for Blaine's penthouse. When there was no response, she panicked and pressed the buzzer repeatedly. Is he really home? No one is answering the bell.
Ma'am, please leave. You're disturbing him. He needs to sleep.
Zoey got more anxious, pressing the buzzer persistently. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Blaine calling. Blaine, is that you? Are you there?
Zoey, for God's sake, stop pressing the buzzer. You're giving me a headache.
I'll stop pressing it only when you open the door for me.
Then keep playing with it.
Blaine hung up on her. Zoey called him back, but he turned off his phone. She stomped her foot in frustration. Fine. If you won't answer, I have other ways to get your attention. Zoey ran outside and began to shout. Blaine, let me in! Open the door, let me in! Blaine! Blaine! Blaine stood by the window, observing Zoey below, but didn't respond. The neighbors were all out looking at her. Suddenly, one of them dumped cold water on her from above, asking her to leave. Without a second thought, Blaine grabbed his jacket and rushed downstairs to her aid.
Zoey, can you be any more foolish?
He wrapped the jacket around her, revealing a mix of anger and relief in his eyes. They went upstairs, and Blaine provided her with dry clothes.
Once your clothes have finished drying, you'll leave without a question.
What did you have for lunch?
I said, you'll leave without a question.
The tension between them intensified as Blaine shouted aggressively at Zoey, sending a chill down her spine. What lies ahead for Zoey and Blaine's complicated relationship? Will Blaine's HIV test results be positive? And how will it impact their life? Will Blaine's decision to operate on the patient change his life for the worse?
Hi, Blaine here. Hope you're loving Rekindled Heartache. Keep following us as we release new episodes of Rekindled Heartache Season 1 on YouTube. If you wish to jump the queue and unlock all seasons of the audio series, you can install the Pocketfm app by clicking on the link in the description. To watch the next episode of Season 1, tap here. And to watch the full Season 1, click on the playlist.